Hello, hello. How is everybody tonight? Wow, 30 people already. And of course, as soon as I sit down, the phone rings. Just a second, guys. As soon as I sit down, the phone rings. All right, got that. How is everybody tonight? Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Let's see. Henry, hello. Parker, random, hello. Jordan, welcome to the stream. Yo, how is everybody tonight? Can you all see me? Can you all hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. How am I coming through tonight, guys? How is everybody tonight? Glamorous. Hey, Sam, it's me, Ethan. Hey, Ethan, welcome to the stream. Maritime History, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Cotton, hello. Tanker, hello. Whoa, 82 people already. Holy cow. Okay, guys. Seriously, I can't go like 2 minutes without having to enable slow mode. All right, guys. Sorry, but slow mode is turning on. Spartan 117, your favorite Halo game. Spartan, I have to tell you this way, okay? We have to always remember Reach. That should tell you the answer. How is everybody tonight? Man, good gosh. Okay, quality is low. Hopefully that should improve in time. I might have to even set the slow mode even more because these chats are coming through so fast. Let's see. Sebastian 4, thank you so much for a super chat of the night. It's my birthday. Thank you so much, Sebastian. And happy birthday to Sebastian. Everybody, happy birthday to you. Everybody wish Sebastian a happy birthday. Happy birthday. And we got 17 from Yoel. Thank you so much, but I don't see a question. You should have asked a question, man. Let's see. The Ghost Train. Hey, Sam, what if there was a ship that had my name? Okay, that'd be really cool. I was actually thinking about doing a video on the little baby Titanic, Nomadic. What do you guys think of that idea? Thought about doing a little video on the miniature ship at some point, adding this ship to the list. Happy birthday. Let's see. The Black Force, happy birthday. Ellie, Sam, I was thinking of what happened to the funnels. If you're talking about the funnels on Titanic, they were made of a much lighter material. So it's most likely they just eroded a long time ago. You know, they did find fragments of the whistles, and they actually recovered the Titanic, or one of the Titanic's whistles. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe all 3 funnels had a whistle mechanism. Am I wrong about that, guys? Let me know in the chat. Or was it just the front one? I feel like they all had a whistle thing on them, but I could be wrong. But I know they did recover one of the Titanic's whistles, if it had multiple. Let's see. King, are you going to do a video on the Eastland, which is the Titanic of the Chicago? Yes, that is on the list. I've already got that one on the list. I love the UK. I love the UK as well. You are very glitchy. Okay, just give it a little bit of time, guys, because sometimes the image clears up as time goes on. Let's see. Mr. Titanic. Hey, Sam, what started your love for ships? What started my 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 love for ships? You know, that's a very good question. I wonder what started my love for ships. Sebastian 3, thank you so much. What if the Titanic did not snap in half? That's a good question, guys. So essentially, if the Titanic hadn't snapped in half, essentially she would have continued to sink just like we saw. But I think eventually at some point, say my hand right here is the waterline, I think the ship would continue to go down, and then I think the stern would continue to rise up higher and higher. Now, I don't know if she would go completely vertical because of the heavy engines. I think the ship would kind of reach an equilibrium, probably right around here, maybe. And then as the ship continues to drop, as the heavy engines go under, then the stern may go vertical as she goes under. That's my theory. Super chats. Did I miss another one? No, we're good. Okay. Hello from Brazil. Hello from West Virginia. David, hey, Sam, what's next on the list? We are going to be talking about the next video on this channel is the long overdue and highly requested video on the Titanic sister ship, the RMS Olympic. The RMS Olympic will be our next video topic on this channel. I'm expecting to release that video either Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And it's going to cover the entire lifespan of the Olympic, or as much as I can in a 10 to 20 minute video. Roblox, the SS Historic Travels. Yes. If anybody is interested, please join my Discord because I am looking for a pirate crew in Sea of Thieves. I've got a couple of members already, but I'm still looking to complete the crew so we can sail the ocean blue. Let's see. Ozzy, Sam, was the fourth funnel fake? It was fake in regards to the whole, it didn't channel any smoke from the boiler rooms, although it did actually vent out steam and stuff from like the ship's galleys and other sections on board the ship. So did it actually do anything to help with the boilers? No, but it had other purposes. I was actually talking, and I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. If anybody in the chat, please, if anybody in the chat knows this, please let me know. But I was talking to Jordan over at Titanic Animations, and he said that there's some testimony that there was a Titanic survivor inside the fourth funnel. And he was at the very, very top of the fourth funnel when the ship broke. And that somehow he hung on until the fourth funnel fell. And then he was somehow able to survive the evening. Jordan, if you're watching, please post what that guy's name was. I know we were talking about it. That seems kind of far-fetched that could happen, but it's not impossible. And honestly, I would like to know more about that person who was supposedly up on the fourth funnel. I mean, if he did survive that, then he's got one heck of a survival story. Shane, I've seen that in a documentary. Now, if you're talking about the documentary, What Sank the Titanic? Shoot, what was that guy's name? Frederick Gorey? Something like that. I don't believe it was him because in that documentary, Frank Gorey, but he worked in the boiler room. Anyway, in that documentary, they have him throw a note in a bottle overboard. And that's not historically accurate. There was a message in a bottle that was thrown from the Titanic as the final plunge was beginning. But it wasn't a bottle of alcohol, as you see in the What Sank the Titanic documentary. It was a bottle of holy water, and it was empty. And he put a note in it, threw it over the side, and the note simply said, April 15th, 1912, from Titanic. Goodbye, all. And then he threw it into the ocean. And I believe the bottle washed ashore not too far from Belfast. Or was it Southampton? I need to double check a few things, but I know I'm getting some of that stuff right. I know it was a bottle of holy water. I know it washed ashore over in the UK, Europe, all that area. It didn't go to New York. And I believe it washed ashore not too far from his hometown. Let's see. With the bottle and the whiskey guy. But yeah, but that isn't accurate. That isn't accurate. Let's see. Oh, there was a super chat. You see, this is what happens. As soon as I get off onto a story, I miss a super chat. Random Meme 25. Thank you so much, man. Meme, everybody in Sam's Discord, ignore my Titanic Lego model. What's wrong with that? Another meme, everyone in Sam's community wins the next ship that we voted for. Oh, I get it. I get it. These are memes. Okay. Meme, everyone in Sam's Discord, ignore my Titanic Lego model. Another meme, everybody in Sam's community wins the next ship we voted for. Trying to balance his life. Also, so for missing the last few streams. Oh, welcome, Random, and I'm glad you're here tonight. And I'm trying to get to the list, okay? Give me a break here. I'm a one-man operation on the Historic Travels YouTube channel. Let's see. I can't pronounce your name. PSY, hello from Norway. Hello from West Virginia in the United States of America. Oh, there was two more. There was two more super chats. See, this is why it's always good to have somebody watching because Sebastian, too. I'm sorry I missed your super chat. Can you do more live streams? Maybe. I usually just try to balance out between. Excuse me, guys. I just had a dinner. I just ate dinner, but I try to balance out my live streams with my videos. So I like to do 2 videos a week, and then I like to do a live stream. So maybe I can fit in some more live streams if that's what you guys would like. But I try to keep the. I try to stick to that because it usually takes me about 2 or 3 days to do a video, and I don't always upload on time. I try to do either Tuesday and Friday or Wednesday and Saturday. That's usually how I try to do it. And let's see here. Dingo Show, video on the traffic and the nomadic still on the list. Yes, it is. I am going to be covering those. And I just talked about that earlier, that I was going to do a little video for the mini Titanic, but I really want to go and see the ship. You know, if I want to do a video on a vessel and the vessel's still around, I'd like to go and see it myself. So I might just have to say whatever and go ahead and do it. John, are there any more interviews in the BBC archives? I listened to Boxhole and Lightoller. I'm not sure. I know one great, hang on a second. Titanic survivor interview. I saw this interview, and I believe this is from the 1950s. No, it can't be the 50s. Let's see. But yeah, I did find this interview. It might be the 50s, and it was colorized. Hang on a second, guys. I'm posting something. And there you go. Let's see what we got here. Alive with Passion 5. Thank you so much. I'm concerned about the Queen Mary. We might lose her due to leaseholders going bankrupt. Please do a video about her. Thank you. I am not overly concerned about the Queen Mary at this point. I know the city of Long Beach has control of her again. I think that I don't think we're going to lose the Queen Mary. But at the same time, the Queen Mary needs a lot of work. As far as I understand, essentially, as far as I understand, the Queen Mary hasn't had a dry dock since they actually got the ship there in the 60s. So the hull is in terrible shape. And honestly, I don't even know if the Queen Mary could handle being moved. But they really do need to do something. They need to get her out of the water. They need to inspect her hull. And I believe they said that they need about $25 million just to keep the ship viable for 2 to 3 years. I mean, that's just in how bad shape she is. Now, I stayed aboard the Queen Mary a couple of years ago, about almost 2 years ago. Excuse me. And the lifeboats on there, like, you can see through them. Like, those lifeboats have no flooring or anything. I mean, I know they're just decoration, but still, the Queen Mary needs a lot of work. I hope somebody gets the lease, and I hope somebody can really take care of her. And in case you guys missed it before, I've got it right here. My mother found this for me. I haven't had a chance to hang it up yet, but it's plans of the Queen Mary. And this is insanely cool. She framed it and everything. This is so neat. I just got to find a good place for it. Now, I don't know what year this is from, but this is absolutely insane. Very, very cool. Hey, Ma, if you're watching, thank you. She called that an early birthday present. That was so cool. But yeah, I hope they save the Queen Mary. She deserves to be preserved, but they definitely do need to take better care of her. Let's see. Hockey. Sam, can you do a video about the idea of recovering the Marconi radio from the Titanic? Hockey, I made a video a while back discussing the issues of recovering artifacts from the Titanic, and I mentioned recovering the Marconi radio in that video. So go back and watch that one. That video is probably a month or two old at this point. Let's see. Barrett. Sam. Hi, Barrett. Let's see. Inner History. Hi, Inner History. Welcome to the stream. Currently approaching 400. Awesome. Inner History is approaching 400 subscribers. Your thoughts on what I should do for the special? I've got about a month or so. What should you do for your 400 subscriber live stream? If you haven't done the Queen Mary yet, maybe do the Queen Mary, or look up the RMS Taylor. That was the White Star Line's. They call the RMS Taylor the first Titanic. It was a clipper ship, sailed in 1853, and she sunk on her maiden voyage. Now, this is the old White Star before the new White Star, because White Star Line had a reboot later. But yeah, look up the RMS Taylor. That'd be an interesting video. Erie, welcome to the stream. Sam, when is the Andrea Doria video coming? It's on the list, but I don't have an exact date for that yet. Brian, have you read The Perfect Storm? I have not, and believe it or not, I haven't even seen the movie. I definitely do need to go and check that out, though, but I do need to do some research into that. Let's see. Kimberly. Hold on a second, guys. Oh, there was another super chat. Oh, right there. Of course. Okay. 1790 from Yul. Thank you. So here's my question. Can you do a video about the sinking of the Sturma and also the Thresher? Okay, the Thresher was that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Thresher you're talking about, that was that submarine, right? From the Cold War, from the 60s. And the Sturma, I'm not familiar. That name isn't ringing a bell. Let me see here. I know the Thresher and the Scorpion, but what's the Sturma? It was a passenger ship. It was a small ship with a long history that included a number of changes and uses. She was built in 1867. Interesting. I have never heard of this. Now, am I thinking of the same ship that, are we talking about the same vessel here? Because you showed me a ship that's much older than what I'm thinking of. But here, I'll add those to the list. That's honestly super cool idea. Thank you so much. The Struma. C-R-U-M-A. Thank you so much for that. Great question, and thank you for the super chat. And I'm sorry it took me a second to get to it. Let's see. Brick. Sam, what model of Titanic do you have? Well, I have two. And the one that I always use in my videos, This is the model of the Titanic that came from Titanic Honor and Glory. And let me tell you guys, this model has been through it. We've got the bow missing. We've got a propeller missing. We've got the rudder missing. You know, when I look at the Titanic and then I look at my brand new Olympic, it really makes me sad because, like, look, this model has been great for my videos, but it's, you know, I handled this model a lot more than I should. It wasn't designed to be used the way I've been using it. But yeah, here's my Olympic in absolute pristine condition. The 4 blades and everything, all the stuff on it's in perfect condition. And then I have my Titanic and it's battle damaged. But Titanic Honor and Glory models. And then I have a bigger model that my brother made me. He found it in an antique store. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. Beast Productions. Hey, Sam, do you think the Titanic's second funnel exploded? Okay, so that came from a testimony from Jack Thayer. And what Jack Thayer said was that as the Titanic's final plunge was happening, he saw the second funnel go up in a shower of sparks and fire. Now, that doesn't mean the entire funnel erupted into flames and exploded, but it seems like the second funnel may have gotten a little bit of a lift, like something ignited. Okay, so let me see what chats. Something may have ignited right here on the bottom and caused the funnel to lift up slightly right as it fell. Could that be a boiler going up? Could that be coal dust igniting? We don't know. But it is possible because that was actually in testimony that that happened. 5 super chat from Goth. Thank you so much. Is the RMS Republic and the MV Doña Paz on the list? The Doña Paz I've already talked about, but the RMS Republic is on the list. We will get to the Republic. The RMS Republic, let me double check something here about the Republic. Yeah, was that wasn't it rumored that the Republic, I feel like the Republic was rumored to have a lot of gold on board. Yeah, deep sea shipbuilders have raised your concern area that gold and silver coins and air pressure RFS could be in the shipwreck. Yeah, I do need to do a video about the Republic. I really do need to do that. But I'll get to that. But the Doña Paz I already did. But thank you for the 5, by the way. Show, welcome to the live stream. Show is in the house. Everybody say hi to Show. Welcome, Show. Everybody, welcome Show to the live stream. Leslie, can you do a video on the Japanese underwater aircraft carriers? On the Japanese underwater aircraft carriers? Are you talking about aircraft carriers that went down? Alfie, can you do a video on the Olympus collision? That is, the Olympics video is coming very soon. That is the next video I'm going to work on. Excuse me. So I'm going to be spending probably tomorrow researching the Olympics timeline, talking about what to talk about. Now, I believe, was it the Olympic that was sailing along? And correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but wasn't it the Olympic that was sailing along and a U-boat tried to torpedo the Olympic? And the captain of the Olympic got so mad that he turned the Olympic towards the submarine and sliced it in half. And I'm pretty sure that was the Olympic. I'm pretty sure that was the Olympic. The History Kid, please shout out me, my man. Hello, History Kid. Welcome to the stream. Yo, 17. Awesome. Another 17. Thank you so much. Try looking for Sturma disaster in Wikipedia. Sturma disaster in Wikipedia. I believe that was the ship that I already looked up. The Sturma disaster was sinking. Oh, okay. So there was a different ship. Interesting. So I found a different vessel than the one you were talking about. The Sturma disaster was sinking on the 24th of February, 1942. It had been trying to take 800 Jewish refugees from Axis Allied Romania. Dang on. Deaths 781. Holy cow. Okay, I'm dead. I've never even heard of this. Okay, there is definitely going to be a video about this. Thank you so much for that. I've never even heard of this shipwreck. Holy cow. During World War II as well. Dang on. All right, that's on the list. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Thank you so much for telling me about that. That honestly kind of reminds me of the Gustloff. Swordmaster, how big is your list? Over 100 ideas and growing. Alan, Sam, why does the chat have to have slow mode? Because I could not keep up otherwise. Connor, can somebody link the Discord? Go into my community page, man. There's a link there that does not expire. Noob Gaming, hello, I have a question. Can you please talk about the first German submarine ever sunk? Talk about the first German sub ever sunk. I'd have to research that a little bit to find out a little bit more information about it. But maybe we could do a video on that. I need a drink, guys. Give me just a second. Good old mocha. Cool, $5. Thank you so much, Cool. Keep up the great work. Thank you, man. have you heard of the full-scale Titanic replica that is in China and is being built? Yes, I have. And if they do it right, then I am completely okay with it. Because people have asked me that in the live chats before. What is my opinion on them basically building another Titanic? And what you have to remember is the Titanic is a very small and very antiquated ship by modern day standards. I mean, the Titanic's 109 years old. You got to remember that. 110 actually. Well, 110 next year. But so if you try to rebuild this ship, it wouldn't be the Titanic, because it wouldn't be legal to have a ship like the Titanic and have it sail the oceans. It wouldn't be legal to do so. No one would sail on her because, the conditions on board, they're not up to modern day standards by no means. But if you build a building that looks like the Titanic and make it a museum, then honestly, that would be pretty interesting, because they could build it period specific, so we could actually go aboard and see what life was like on it. And if China does something like that, then that would be pretty cool. But I can't pull the ship name off the top of my head. But essentially, they actually built, I believe it was an aircraft carrier building ship museum thing, and then they abandoned it. So I'm afraid that they're going to do the exact same thing with Titanic. Who knows for sure? But I believe it was Park Stevenson who talked about that. So, but who knows? It all depends on what they do, Let's see. Okay, there was that. Oh, no, super chat 5 from Garth. I'd love to see you do a video on the SS. I'm not familiar with that ship. War? I'll have to look into that. Give me a second. There was one other super chat that I wanted to find out real quick. Give me a second, guys. I'm not familiar with that, Sebastian. I am not. Let me see here. There was that super chat. And I'd love to see you do a video on the I'd love to see you do a video on the SS Worth. Okay, the SS Worth. Let me see what that is. I'm not familiar with that ship. The SS Worth. The SS Worth was a passenger cargo steamship built in 1908 for the Blue Anchor Line to operate between Europe and Australia. Interesting. I am not familiar with this at all. All right, putting it on the list. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm jumping from the list to the chat, from the list to the chat. Give me just a second, guys. And boom. Bada bing, bada boom. We got another one on the list. No, Historic Travels. Hello, sir. Have you heard of the German U-boat Type 21? The first stealth U-boat made by the Germans. I have not heard about that, but that's very interesting. Let's see. Bay, can you please make a video about the Tenfree disaster? I'm not familiar with that one either. Let's see. Tenfree disaster. I have not. You guys teach me so much on here. Oh, the airplane. Is this the tragedy where those two 747s hit each other? Were they 747s? Holy cow. Yeah, that needs to be on the list. That definitely does need to be on the list. I think that we're talking about the same thing here, but this was is there another one that I missed? No, I did get that one. I got that super chat. But yeah, that is very cool. That's actually the two 747s that actually hit each other. That needs to go on the list as well. Let's see. 747 airport collision. Got it. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, I got that super chat. We're good. Let's see. Maritime history. While the Lusitania was sinking, did it hit the bottom? I believe so. I believe the Lusitania did sink. And based on survivor testimony, they talked about it in the amazing book Dead Wake. But it's like as the Lusitania was going down, she still had momentum. So she was moving forward. And then it's like she stopped and then settled. So I bet that stopping motion was the bow hitting the bottom. And the Lusitania, I did see another question. The Lusitania is in such bad shape because I think the British were actually bombing the wreck in the 30s. Now, it's possible they could have gotten the wreck of the Lusitania mixed up with some U-boats, and they actually bombed it. But there were reports in the 1930s of people seeing British ships firing shells and rounds into the sea in the general location of the Lusitania wreck. So I think that there were detonations and bombs and stuff going off around the Lusitania, and that's why she's in such bad shape, because otherwise I think she'd be in similar condition to Britannic. But still, whatever that second explosion was, that did some damage. Gordon, 5. Thank you so much, Gordon. Didn't see you retracted your message. Okay, but hey, thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Mr. Aiden, what if Lusitania was raised? They can't. Lusitania, like, okay, people want to talk about raising Titanic, and Titanic's in horrible shape, but at least it's in, well, the bow section anyway, is still together. But the second you tried to lift up the Titanic, it would basically just crumble and fall apart. There's nothing you can do with it. But the Lusitania is literally just a big, huge pile of metal on the seafloor, and there's no way they could raise the Lusitania. Good grief, a lot of text messages. Okay, yep, those are good. Those are good. I may have to slow down the super chat a little bit more, guys. I think I'm going to need to, because these questions are just going by so fast. So I'm going to increase the super chat, the chat from 45 to 60 seconds apiece. Changes saved. Okay. Let's see. Adam, hi Sam. Can you do a video on the Bismarck? Do you know about the sinking? I do know a little bit about the Bismarck. I haven't done a ton of research on it, but it is on the list. The Bismarck and the Hood, I definitely need to talk about those. Let's see. Officer John, could you raise the Britannic? Okay. So if I was to bet on any shipwreck that they could actually raise, you can tell my Britannic's my poor little crow's nest, my poor mast. But as far as any shipwreck to be raised, the Britannic, in my opinion, has the best chance. But big storm outside. But the Britannic, you have to remember, the Britannic is the biggest passenger ship on the seafloor. It's huge. So I don't know how they would do it. The only way that I think they could do it would be to actually probably cut it into pieces and then bring it up a bit at a time. But still, then that destroys the shipwreck. Honestly, I think they need to leave it where it is, because the Britannic is still 400 feet down. And while that is shallow in terms of shipwrecks, that's still pretty deep. So if you ask me, they just need to leave it alone. I think that trying to raise it up would do more damage. Let's see. Gordon 5. Thank you so much, Gordon. Sam, I will try to look up the Discord and talk to you about the Hunley. Awesome, Gordon. The Hunley is very interesting. For those of you who don't know, the Hunley was a submarine that was used by the South in the Civil War. And essentially what they did was you had 7, 8, or 9 guys get into this metal tube, and it could go underwater. And basically what it was is they powered the submarine. No joke. All these guys got in there and they grabbed onto a handle and they literally cranked it like this. And that's how they moved the submarine through the water. And just pretend that my Titanic model is a submarine here. They would have a torpedo tied to the very front of the submarine, and then they would ram a ship, and then they'd have the submarine pull back, and it would pull a rope, and then that would set off the bomb. Now, the Hunley had one mission where it did sink a ship, but it's believed that the shock wave from that explosion sunk the Hunley as well. The Hunley, it had several experimental runs before that mission, and it went down a lot. You know, even during the test dives, it would sink, and the crew, it had a great loss of life on board. Well, like the crewmen on board, like not a lot of them made it. It was pretty bad. Now, the commander of the Hunley, he's got a pretty interesting story. He had a gold coin in his pocket that I believe his wife or girlfriend gave him. And he got actually shot in the leg, and the coin stopped the musket from going into his leg and killing him. Or like, I think it hit him at a weird angle, so it would have went into his leg and went up into his upper body, and the coin stopped the musket. So he kept this bent coin in his pocket for good luck. And when they found the Hunley, they found what was left of his body, and the coin was still in his pocket. I know a little bit about the Hunley. Let's see. We got some more super chats to get to here. Okay, we got that one. And we got from Gohan. Awesome, too. Thank you so much. Why have you why you never done a video on Troy, the War of Sparta? Oh man, I need to talk about that. Troy, the Trojan horse. Shoot, what was that swordsman's name? What was his name? But I do. Troy was the Trojan horse, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I do need to do a video about that. That'd be interesting. Grammar. What do you think about the Titanic Honor and Glory game coming out? I hope they can pull it off, you know? I've always been a huge supporter of the Titanic Honor and Glory project. Excuse me. I love their models. I think their work is absolutely fantastic. If you guys don't know Titanic Honor and Glory, they're making a game that basically recreates the entire story of the Titanic. So I hope everything works out for them. You know, they've been working on this thing forever, so I hope it all plays out, and I hope they're able to release the game. And don't worry about the tea, guys. The tea is well away from my laptop, so we're good. Tim, hey Sam, I'm gonna try and figure out the name of the outfit that the Titanic officer wore because I want one. Awesome. Let's see. Cindy, hey Sam, I'm going to the Tennessee Titanic Museum. Awesome, Cindy. It's an awesome museum. I went once a very long time ago, and I do need to go again. I believe they actually have a Titanic conference getting ready to come up. Gaming with Leah, hey Sam, do you plan to do any videos with Rachel soon? It all depends on me and her schedule. The whole ice video, if you guys haven't seen that yet, but she was in town very briefly about a week or two ago, whenever that video came up. It was for the 4th of July, so a week ago. But we just didn't have time to do the full meme video or anything. It's just whenever me and her schedule line up is when we try to do a video because she lives in Ohio most of the time. Andrew, any plans to start a fund for a plaque for Pier 54? Okay, that would be really cool. Huh. I wonder how we would do that. I wonder how we would try to get something like that going. Do you have any idea how cool that would be? If we could do something on this channel or something and actually get a memorial plaque put up at Pier 54? That would be insanely cool. I need to do some research into that. That is a killer idea. Pier 54 definitely needs a memorial plaque. I saw a picture that a guy posted of it today on Facebook, and it was like, imagine standing right here and seeing the Lusitania just sitting right there by the pier. Like, can you just imagine how cool that would have been just to see the Lusitania sitting right there? I'm such a what's the right terminology? Like, I get what maybe nostalgic. No, nostalgic's for stuff that I've experienced, but I always try to imagine the past. You know, like if I'm at a very historical site, I always like to try to imagine what it would have been like to be there. Let's see. Dash, did the SS United States have a steam turbine or diesel engine? I really want to know how the vessel was able to win the Blue Ribbon. Now, I am not an expert in the USS United States by any means. I believe it was a steamship. But as far as I know, they did something very funky with it, just the way it was so fast and what they did with it. I believe the ship was 100% fireproof. I don't think there was anything on board the ship that could burn. But I'd have to do more research into it. I am not an expert on that ship by any means. Nathan, when a vessel is as shallow as the Britannic, you can build a giant concrete seawall around the vessel, pump out the ocean, and make the ship watertight again and refloat the vessel. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like maybe, like I feel like I've seen stuff around that before. But 400 feet's a long way, and you got to remember just how big the Britannic is. So, where did that question go? It's you can build a giant concrete seawall around the vessel, pump out the ocean, and make the ship watertight again and refloat the vessel. Ugh. With how long the Britannic's been underwater, man, and you know, you also got to think about what exposing that kind of steel to oxygen would do to it. You know. I don't know how well that would play out. And it's just how big Britannic is also a problem. 5 from Lori. Thank you so much. Have you ever heard the term rusticles? Yes, the stuff that's growing all over Titanic. Very interesting reading in the National Geographic issue and very interesting read. Yes, I actually made a video about that way, way back. That's one of my early videos. But I talk about why the Titanic is in such a rapid state of decay. Because if you compare the wreck of the Titanic with the wreck of the Britannic, then there is a night and day difference in the condition between the two wrecks. And essentially, where the Titanic is, there isn't a lot of life there that is competing for resources on the Titanic. So the bacteria that is making the rusticles are not rust. It's bacteria that gives that rust shape. And this bacteria is essentially eating the wreck of the Titanic. Now, the way I understand it, those same bacteria are present on the Britannic, but where the Britannic is only 400 feet down, not 2.5 miles like Titanic, then that bacteria has to compete with all this other bacterial life on the hull of the Britannic for resources. So the rusticles can't absolutely go insane on the Britannic like they can the Titanic because there's other life there keeping it in check. Whereas where the Titanic is 2.5 miles underwater, there's not a lot of stuff can survive down that deep. So the rusticles are just going insane. But yeah, there's a lot more on board the there's a lot more rusticles on Titanic than Britannic. Alan, wait, the video about the rusticles is old? Wow, how time's bad. I know. Listen, I can't get over how long I've been doing YouTube now. I think, what is this, month 6 or 7? month 7, maybe month 7 or 8. Let's see. Amir, when the Estonia sank, my dad reported there was a white light next to the Estonia. He thought it was a submarine. Really? Excuse me. This is what happens when you eat dinner right before a live stream. So your dad was actually out there. Dang on. So when the Estonia sank, my dad reported there was a white light next to the Estonia. He thought it was a submarine. Other passengers also said this. What is your opinion of this? Okay, so when I did my Estonia video, I talked about it through the official story. I wasn't aware of the whole submarine thing at the time. And honestly, that's pretty interesting because somebody else told me that there's a hole in the side of the Estonia, and maybe that could have been part of what sunk the ship, that maybe there was something fishy going on with it. I really don't know enough about all of that, but there's definitely something there with the Estonia that is definitely out of the ordinary. I mean, the Estonia's sinking kind of makes you think of the Lusitania a little bit. There's a little more to it than meets the eye. So I would like to investigate that a little bit more. And I do believe the wreck of the Estonia is protected. Like, they don't want anybody near it. And I believe the government actually talked about burying the Estonia with concrete. Why would you do that if you're not trying to cover something up? You know, that's... definitely interesting. I need to do some more research, but I definitely do need to, there does need to be some official investigations into that. Let's see. Kaylin, I'm a veteran. I've been watching Sam's videos since the beginning of the YouTube channel. That's awesome, Kaylin. And Kaylin, thank you for your service, man. Anybody who puts on the uniform is a hero in my book. Everybody in the chat, thank Kaylin for his service. He's a veteran, and I want to give him a big shout out. Thank you for your service. Everybody, give Kaylin a big thank you for his service. Thank you so much, man. Anybody that puts on the uniform is a hero in my book. Lisa D, welcome to the stream. Dan, can you make a video about the 300? Are you talking about like the 300 Spartans? Let's see. Mr. Titanic. Hey, Sam, can you please do a video on Daniel Channel? You inspired me. Awesome. I'll take a look into that. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Awesome. Everybody, that's awesome. Listen, anybody who puts on the uniform is a hero in my book. Thank you, Kaylin. Captain Alex, which other sunk White Star Line ship should be created into a museum? Which other sunk White Star Line ships could be created into a museum? Like, do you mean like create a museum around them? I think the Republic should have a museum based on it. You know, talk about the Republic. I think the Atlantic should be more widely known, because the Atlantic isn't really that well known outside of the ship community. You know, people who aren't into ocean liners don't know much about the Atlantic. Martin 5. What do you think happened to the blade on the starboard propeller on the Titanic since it's missing? It's not missing, it's buried. Let's see, Titanic. There wouldn't be anything that would cause a Titanic starboard propeller. The Titanic starboard propeller on the wreck. Yeah, it's just buried. The propeller isn't, the blade is just semi-buried. There would be no reason that it would be missing. It's just buried in the seafloor. Let's see. Sailor, the MV Estonia had military stuff on it, and I think they sent a submarine to follow the Estonia. It had military stuff on board. Now, that's something I wasn't sure about. I saw something that they thought it had contraband on board or something was going on with that, but definitely interesting. Let's see. Aurelia, I don't think I said your name right, but hello. Historic Travels. I'm going to a Titanic museum in Orlando because of you. That's awesome. And make sure you ask them about me, like, or tell them about me, you know, because I've been thinking about going back to the Titanic Museum and maybe do something more official this time, you know, if they would be interested. I haven't spoken to them. It was just an idea. But maybe I should go there again and maybe make an announcement about a month or so before and see if they'd want to do anything. You know, like arrange a tour or something, and I could be there. And I'd like to meet some of you guys if you live in the Orlando area. That'd be really cool. Caden, $2. Awesome. Thank you, Caden. Okay. Are you going to make a video about the sinking of the Carpathia? Of course. When I talk about the Carpathia, I'm going to be talking all about that. Steve, hi, Sam. Have you heard of the Titan? A story similar to the Titanic years before it sank. It's not here. But yes, The Wreck of the Titan. That's actually a book written by, don't tell me, Morgan Andrew Robinson. Morgan Andrew Robinson. Am I right? Am I right in the chat? The Wreck of the Titan, Morgan Andrew Robertson. I believe I'm right. Is that the right author? Let me know in the chat if I'm right on that. But yes, for those of you who don't know, it was a book that was written around 12 to 13. Airplane. It was a book that was written around 12 to 13 years before the Titanic went down. And the ship went down, I believe, 400 miles south of Newfoundland. Yes, it is. Okay, awesome. I got it right. You are right. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, you're right. But the book, in the book, the ship went down about 400 miles south of Newfoundland, I believe. It hit an iceberg, biggest ship in the world, all that. And what's so eerie about it is the ship in the book was named the Titan, Titan. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but that name is eerily similar to another ship. I mean, that's kind of creepy if you ask me. But yeah, around 12 to 13 years before the Titanic went down, there was a book that was eerily similar to the Titanic. At the time, wasn't it called Crucible? And then it later was changed to The Wreck of the Titan. I feel like it was. Whoa, 200 super chat from Martin. Thank you so much. I am a fan from the, I know I'm not going to say this right. So Czech Republic, finally, I had a time to see you online. Welcome to the stream and hello from West Virginia. Titanic was full of stuff I expected a lot of floating debris would be around for people to survive. Just 2 tables is usually enough to hold a person. Yeah, but you also have to remember the conditions that night. You know, you've got 1,500 people in the water, all screaming for help. And then there's fighting and there's all kinds of stuff going on among the people in the water. And when a ship goes down, a lot of the stuff on these ships are shredded. You know, that's one thing they were talking about, that if there were more lifeboats on board the Titanic, but those lifeboats weren't actually able to, if there were lifeboats on board and you weren't able to launch them, then they would have just gotten shredded as the ship went down, because collapsible A and B, the 2 lifeboats by the Titanic's first funnel, they were floated off, but it wasn't without incident. Collapsible A was about half swamped with water when it left the Titanic, and collapsible B was upside down. So any more lifeboats on board, you know, they would just get tore up. And same would be said for any other debris that would be on board the Titanic and stuff. It's a very violent affair when a ship goes down. And anything like deck chairs and stuff, the people that were throwing those overboard, well, when somebody climbs up on them, you're not completely out of the water. See, that's the trick. In order to survive the sinking of the Titanic, you've got to get out of the water. And for a time, you would have been better off to try to jury rig something, you know? But that's easy to say. Like, I think in order for you to have the best chance of surviving the evening, like if I was there with all the knowledge I have now, I would probably try to get a deck chair or something, maybe put a bunch of life jackets underneath it and try to make it a little bit more buoyant. Because the more of your body that is out of the water, the better chance you have to survive. So that's the trick. I mean, sure, there's stuff to float on, but can you get your entire body out of the water? You know, that's the trick. And you also have to remember, no one knew the full extent of the situation until much later. You know, I mean, there were people pretty much for most of the sinking who didn't know that the ship was going down. Excuse me. Xander, hey Sam, is it possible to drain some of the ocean and see the Titanic? No. Excuse me. Rob, hi from the UK. Hi from West Virginia. Would you consider Archibald Gracie and the others who suffered health problems and died afterwards as Titanic survivors victims? Yes, they were definitely victims of the Titanic disaster. Listen, even if you're a survivor from a tragedy like the Titanic or whatever, in a way, you are still a victim of it, because you're never the same after seeing something like that. You know, it's to see something that horrible and that traumatizing. I mean, you know, that leaves a huge impression on people. And I believe that even if you survive it, you know, you're still affected by it. So in a way, yes, you are still a victim of it. You may not have died in the actual event, but it's impossible to witness something like that and not be changed by it. Yeah, Gracie died like 8 months later. Yeah, he died in November or December of 1912. When I was in New York City, I actually wanted to go and visit his grave. I'm sorry, guys. I keep losing my voice tonight because I'm talking so much. But I wanted to go and visit his grave, but I didn't get the chance because where I was staying in the city, the cemetery where he is like all the way up at the northern part of the island, and I just didn't make it up there. And I don't think they have it specially marked or anything. I think it was like a huge cemetery. I could be wrong, but I think it's just a tombstone there, so you'd have to know how to find it. Great questions tonight. Gosh. Let's see. Patterns. By the way, nice painting in the back. Oh, that's like this is an Art Deco painting that my sister and her husband got me for Christmas last year. Very, very cool. Robert, mean to try to make you laugh. The pool on the Titanic is still in service. In a way. Hey, guys, I have a secret. The pool on the Titanic still has water in it. Shh. Nice meme. Let's see. Masquerade, try some tea, lemon, and honey. That might help. I definitely do need to do that. You know, I have some honey in the other room. I just never did it. Ridge, can you do a video on the MV Princess of Stars that's sung here in the Philippines? Somebody else mentioned that to me before. Hang on a second. The MV, hang on, I lost it. MV Princess of Stars. Let's take a look here. I believe that's already on the list. Let me jog my memory. The MV Princess of Stars. Actually, no. Did it flip upside down? Holy cow. No, this one isn't on the list. MV Princess of Stars. That is definitely going on the list. Dang on. I never even knew about this one. Thank you so much for that. Am I looking at the right ship here? Did it capsize? Let's see. Nicholas, Sam, if there was a ship that looks like the Titanic, but it was up to modern day standards, would you sail on it? I mean, it'd be cool to see it. I don't know. I just don't like them making a ship that kind of looks like the Titanic because there's no reason to. And you're trying to capitalize on a tragedy. And I don't think that's right. You know, it's not teaching us anything about the ship. It's not teaching us anything about the passengers or the crew or the voyage. And there's just no reason to. So, I mean, I wish the Olympic was still around, but I understand why it's not. Cameron 5, thank you so much, Cameron. Hey, Sam, hope you're staying cool in summer heat. Doing my best. Is the USS Maine on your list? I think you would make a fascinating story. The USS Maine, isn't that ship that blew up? USS Maine. The USS Maine was the United States Navy ship that sank in Havana Harbor in February 1898. Oh, this does need to be on my list. The USS Maine, it is not on my list, but let's go ahead and add this to the list right now. But thank you so much for that. The USS Maine. You guys are going to keep me making videos for years to come, aren't you? Let's see. Hey, Sam, have you heard of the Freedom Ship? It's basically a huge ship that is supposed to be 5,906 feet long. I have heard something about that. I believe it was a concept where this guy wanted to build an actual floating city, not a ship. Well, it is a ship because it's floating, but he essentially wanted to build this giant museum. Or not museum, giant city that would travel all around the world, but it didn't pan out. But I don't know. That's a crazy, that's one crazy concept. I'll say that. Okay. Villa, hello, Sam. A Titanic extra. I'm actually the one that, wait, what? Villa, hello, Sam. You were on the Titanic set? A Titanic extra. I'm actually the one that grabbed the angel in the grand staircase floating. Wait, you were on the Titanic movie? You were actually on the Titanic movie. Okay, that's really cool. You were the one who actually grabbed the angel in the grand staircase flooding scene. Okay, that is pretty cool if that's you. That is pretty cool. So were you there when the staircase broke up and shot up and pinned some of the people there? Was that you? Were you there when all that happened? That's pretty cool. If you were actually on the set, that is insanely cool. Oh, I'm like, all right, I'm fanning a little bit right now. That's awesome. Thank you for being at the stream. That means a lot. Rubia, Sam, did you know that there are private cruise ships out there where you can purchase a cabin to live in? Yes, I have heard of those. I know they're crazy expensive. Barrett, haha. Okay, go ahead and laugh at me fanning a little bit, okay? It's pretty cool that somebody on Titanic is here during the stream. Let's see, the Magic Squad. Hey, Sam, why is the Olympic not still around? Essentially, the Olympic was retired in the 30s, and people just didn't care as much about ships back then as people do now. And you also have to remember that the Olympic, when they retired her, we were the middle of the Great Depression. You know, the crash of 29 was a few years before that. And essentially what they did was when they scrapped the Olympic, that created jobs for 100,000 people. So yes, I do wish the Olympic was still around from a historical standpoint, but at the same time, you know, in the 1930s, you know, you don't have a job, you need work, you need to put food on the table. No one's going to care about a ship, you know, no one's going to care about an old ship when people are struggling just to make ends meet. So do I wish the Olympic was still around? Sure. But I understand why it's not, because in those times with everything those people had to go through, scrap the ship, you know, scrap the ship and feed your families. That's what I say. Let's see. Alan, Titanic would get the same done to her if she was still around. Yep, she would. She'd be scrapped. She would be scrapped just like all the others. Honestly, you guys know something. It's a miracle that the Queen Mary is still around. It really is. Villa, yes, exclamation. I saw the staircase break and it trapped two of the extras. I didn't get caught into it, thankfully. That's, holy cow, Villa. That's crazy. I cannot believe that, because that's actually where the that actually sparked the whole thing about the whole float out theory. Because on the grand staircase wreck on the actual Titanic, if you go to the actual location where the grand staircase is on the wreck today, essentially there's nothing there. You know, it's just a big hole in the bottom. And I've heard a couple of different theories, but in the James Cameron documentary, he talks about why, like, we couldn't find any debris of the staircase. And then they're like, when they were shooting the film, they were like, oh, it broke up. And then when they look at the staircase, it actually looks like that parts of the grand staircase may have just floated out. So I'm like, they think that based on what happened during the filming of the James Cameron film in the set, shedded some light on what could have possibly happened to the real grand staircase on the Titanic. You know, when it was flooding and churning up, that a big chunk of it just broke free and shot out of the ship. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I've also heard other theories that maybe parts of the grand staircase were actually blown further back into the Titanic as it was plummeting to the seafloor, which also makes sense. But I think it was a combination of the two. I think it was possible that a good chunk of the staircase came up and that other parts of it got blown back inside the ship. Now, there's a drawing done by, I believe it was Jack Thayer. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there's this drawing that was done by Jack Thayer, I believe on the Carpathia, that shows the Titanic doing like a V-break kind of thing. Now, we know the Titanic didn't V-break, but I heard a theory that maybe the reason he thought it did, but then Jack Thayer did say later that he knows the ship didn't sink like that. But I've heard a theory that said that some people thought they saw something really big come up out of the water. And it was theorized that maybe that was a section of the grand staircase, maybe. I don't know. But that was definitely a theory that I heard. And it's pretty interesting stuff. But it's very possible that some of the survivors could have seen something very big come up out of the water. And that could have been fragments of the grand staircase. Definitely very interesting stuff. But it's awesome you're here in the live stream. I mean, guys, I'm actually fanning a little bit here. That's so cool that somebody on Titanic is in this stream. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see, Mr. Titanic, what happened to the barber shop on the Titanic? Is there still hair there? No, it flooded. Let's see here. Did I miss anything while I was rambling? Probably not. Let's see. LJ, question, do you think the theory that the Titanic grounded on the iceberg? Possible, but that's one of those things that we'll never really know for certain. Tanya, 5, thank you so much. Hey, Sam, love seeing Rosie on the last video. Can you do a video on the USS Indianapolis? It's already on the list. I do have that one on the list. Captain Alex, how about you make a SS Atlantic Museum in West Virginia? I'm pretty sure nobody here in West Virginia even knows what the Atlantic is. Very few people do anyway. There was, I'll never forget this, but thank you for the super chat. And hey, Sam, love seeing Rosie. Can you do it? Okay, got that one. Okay, but I was actually before I worked on the copper mine, I actually worked for AT&T in one of their stores, and there was this guy who came in, and I'll never forget this because he heard me talking to a customer, and I started talking about the Lusitania, and this guy that came in was actually with one of my friends at the time. His name was Andrew, and when he heard me say the word Lusitania, he looked up and he's like, "Did he just say Lusitania?" And my friend Andrew knows how into shipwrecks I am. And he's like, please don't get him going. But then as soon as I was done, He came right over to me and actually challenged me on the spot. He's like, hey, I hear you like shipwrecks. I'm like, yeah. Like, he just came over, okay? He just, no joke, just walked over to me. He's like, you. I'm like, yes. He's like, I hear you like shipwrecks. I'm like, yes, I do. And he's like, so can you tell me the name? Like, very challenging. Like, he's like, can you tell me the name of the worst maritime disaster in history? I'm like, oh, the Wilhelm Gustloff? And he went, how do you know about the Gustloff? It was really funny. And then me and him just actually started chatting for a while, and it was really fun. I'll never forget that. That was so much fun. Another super chat from Martin. Thank you so much. Do we know how much Titanic survivors made it onto objects in the debris field? Let me think here. How many survivors were actually picked up from the debris field after the Titanic went down? I believe it was about 4 or 5 were rescued from the water after the ship went down. I believe it was something. I know it was a very, very low number. Hang on a second. Whoops. I know it's a crazy. How many people on the Titanic debris field? I know it was a very low. Well, it's the bodies, but it doesn't say here how many are actually rescued alive. But I know it was an insanely low number. I know I rescued it. It was 4. Okay, I was right about that. Thanks, Joe. Thank you so much for that. 4 more or less. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was around that. But yeah, it was. It would have been so hard to survive in the water after that went down. And I believe it was Boxhall in lifeboat number 2. And Boxhall actually had some flares in his lifeboat. And he talked about that after a while, he would light the flare and try to shine some light. And when the survivors in the water saw his flare from his lifeboat, this is before the Carpathia showed up, the people in the water actually would start screaming again because they thought the flare was a rescue ship coming, not realizing it was just Boxhall's lifeboat. I mean, honestly, guys, I can't even imagine. Can you just imagine what that must have been like how horrifying that must have been for those people in the water after the ship went down? I mean, there's in the Titanic movie, there's that scene at the very end, where Rose is talking about how she got rescued from the water, and there's that line, and I'll never forget it. He was like, 3 years. I thought of nothing except Titanic, but I never got it. I never let it in. It's just, it's like we get into the ship and the story and everything about it, but then we forget, what happened after the ship went down, and how horrible that must have been for all those people in the water. I mean, it's honestly too horrible to even imagine, I can't even imagine what that must have been like. Let's see. Goku, what can stay afloat for so long? Where is the grand staircase today? It broke apart. There were pieces of it recovered, I do believe. Okay. Blue Blade, the Titanic versus the Kraken. Thoughts? Titanic versus the Kraken. Titanic versus, let's say, my hand's the Kraken. Boom. Like that. Grab it and pull it under. How about that? Paul, hey from Liverpool. Hey from West Virginia. Man, I've got to visit all these places as soon as I can. I'm still waiting on my passport to come back. Kimberly, Kraken wins. Absolutely. I just watched the pirate movies lately, and I've started playing through the Pirates game, the Pirates of the Caribbean expansion on Sea of Thieves. So if anybody wants to join me on Sea of Thieves, please join the Discord. I would love to have some people on me pirate crew in the Sea of Thieves. Error. Hi, Sam. Video idea. What if the Titanic made it to New York City while sinking? Like, how would they try to patch the ship and everything? That might be an interesting video. Like, how could they try to keep the ship afloat while it was going to New York? Interesting. Let's see. Cloudy, I'm wondering, where should I start taking interest in the Titanic? Where should I start if you're taking interest in the Titanic? If you're just starting out into taking interest into the story of the Titanic, I would probably start with the beginning, learn about the history. I mean, you obviously know what the Titanic is. You're hearing the stream. And I think you should probably start off at the beginning, with William Peary, Alexander Carlisle, Bruce Ismay, Thomas Andrews, and start at the beginning of the Olympic class, Maybe you learn about the Atlantic as well. There's a lot of places to begin. if you tried to start, yeah, I would say that. Go start the construction with Harland and Wolff. Itaki 10, thank you so much. A good topic for a video would be the Soviet hospital ship Armenia. Over 6,000 people died in that disaster. I have never even heard of that. Hang on a second. Let's do a little Google. The Google. Armenia ship disaster. The Armenia ship disaster. Soviet hospital ship Armenia was a transport ship operated by the Soviet Union during World War II to carry both wounded soldiers. It had originally built. Interesting. And this ship sunk, you said? There was a 6,000 died in the disaster. Fate sunk by a torpedo bomber. Dang on. Okay, I'm definitely going to look into this a little bit. That is going on the list. Thank you so much. Man, this has been a very eventful live stream tonight. Hold on a second. Let's put that on the list. Bada bing, bada boom. Paste. Soviet hospital ship Armenia. But thank you for the super chat, by the way. I did see that somebody asked for the Discord. And it's also on the community page. So go ahead and do that. Okay, guys. So we are past the 1 hour mark. So I'm going to take a handful of more questions tonight. And then I'm probably going to conclude the live stream. But thank you guys so much. This has been an incredibly fun live stream. The chat has been super active. I've been having a ton of fun. But yeah, a couple more questions, guys, and I'm going to wrap it up. Cameron 5. Thank you so much, Cameron. Do you think the Titanic or the other Olympic liners would still be remembered had the Titanic never gone down? Would the Britannic more be well known? If the Britannic was the only one that sunk, most definitely. But if the Titanic hadn't gone down, no. I don't think the Titanic or ocean liners in general would be as interesting of a topic. I mean, there are always going to be people that like ocean liners, even if the Titanic never happened. But if there was never the Titanic is just such a unique story. You've got the biggest ship in the world. It's got people from all corners of society. And then you have this situation where the ship goes down so slowly that you've got this time for all of this stuff to happen on board. And just think about it, guys. The Titanic, this thing was 109 years ago. And we know so much about what happened this night. It's honestly mind-blowing when you think about how much we know about the Titanic and with how long ago it was. But you also have to think about this as well. 2/3 of everything that happened on this ship went down with the ship. We don't know everything that happened. We know a good bit. We know a lot considering how long ago it was. But still, if the Titanic hadn't sunk, I don't think ocean liners in general will be as a topic that so many people are interested in, because Titanic is that thing that actually pulled a lot of us into ocean liners. Now, there would be people who would like them, but I don't think it would be as high a number if the Titanic hadn't went down and the story behind it. Let's see. Sable, what if the Titanic sunk on her way back to Southampton? Please notice. Hi, Sable. If the Titanic would have sunk on its way back to Southampton, it all depends on the circumstances, because that kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier. Another big part of what makes the Titanic so interesting is because it went down so slowly that there was time for all this stuff to happen. So if the Titanic was just sailing back and then she disappeared, then she would be another shipwreck. If the Titanic had rolled over and capsized and went down in 20, 30 minutes, it would be a horrible tragedy, but that's the story. It's just, there wouldn't be all that extra, there wouldn't be so much extra stuff to it. It's just another shipwreck that's out there, just like all the others. What makes Titanic so interesting is, number one, it was the biggest ship in the world at the time. Number two, it was the pinnacle of luxury, pinnacle of safety, and they got that whole unsinkable ship reputation, but that didn't come until later. And it's just the story behind it. The story of bravery. You've got your heroes, you've got your villains, you've got, there's just so much to Titanic. And that's part of the reason why it's so famous. That's why people care so much about Titanic. It's just, there's so much to it. It's on the community folder. Okay. Simon, thank you so much for the 5. We may no longer have the RMS Olympic, but it's still possible to visit the smoking lounge at the White Swan Hotel. Yeah, parts of the Olympic are actually still in Almswick, England. I hope I said that right. But yeah, parts of the Olympic are still around, Parts of the Olympic are still in existence today. And I believe they actually have some of the original staterooms from the Britannic as well. After she was converted into a hospital ship, they took some stuff out. Very interesting stuff. CB Punk 20, thank you so much. Maybe you guys are trying to keep me live tonight, aren't you? Hey, Sam, I hope all is well. I'm doing okay. How are you, CB Punk? Considering ship size and dimensions, do you think that the Olympic-class ships would have been faster than the Lusitania and Mauretania if they had also 4 propellers and all turbine? Okay. Do you think that the Olympic-class ships, considering the size and dimension, do you think the Olympic-class ships would have been faster than the Lusitania and Mauretania if they had the 4? Okay, so you're getting into a lot of engineering stuff there, and I'm far from an expert on all of that stuff. But you have to remember the Lusitania and the Titanic, they are not anywhere near the same. So this is Lusitania, this is Titanic, and they are completely different ships. The Lusitania is much smaller than the Titanic, and it's got 4 propeller blades, you know, and the Lusitania was fast. So even if the Titanic had 4 propellers with its dimensions and stuff, I don't think she would have been able to compete with the Lusitania or the Mauretania for speed, even in those days. That's just my guess. I'm not an engineer on that at all. But, you know, the Olympic-class ships were not built for speed. They were built for luxury, you know. So that's my guess. If anybody has any more information, I would like to know about that. But yeah, that, in my opinion, no, I don't think that would have made much of a difference. But thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. I think the ships just were not built for speed. But if you changed enough stuff around about them, I'm sure you could figure something out. Let's see. Let's do one more question for tonight, and then I am going to conclude the live stream for this evening. Let's see. There's another super chat. 3 from Droid. Sam, have you made a video about the sinking of the Andrea Doria? I have not, but it's on the list. Let's see. Shane, luxury more than speed. Yes. Darko, if the entrance to the room where the pool on the Titanic had been watertight, does that mean the room was an air pocket? Maybe that made the port list. Darko, if the entrance to the room where the pool on the Titanic had a watertight door, does that mean that the room was an air pocket? Maybe that made the port list. The swimming pool, I don't think one room, even if that was the case. I don't think. When did the pool flood? The Turkish bath. When? Does anybody know what time the Turkish bath flooded? And I can't remember if the Turkish bath was on the starboard or the port side. I feel like it was on the starboard side, and the pool was right there beside the Turkish bath. But you're asking for specifics there, and I can't remember it. But I don't think one room would be enough to generate the port list, even if it was on the port side. But I'm fairly certain it was on the starboard, but I could be wrong. No. It was starboard. Okay, it was starboard. That's what I thought. I thought it was on the starboard side. So no, that couldn't have made the port list if port side. No clue. Port, starboard. Okay, we'll have to look this up a little bit. We'll have to look all that up a little bit. That's an interesting question though. I wonder what time the pool flooded, because I thought the pool was on starboard, but I need to double check. But thank you so much. That was a very interesting question. That was definitely something to think about. Let's see. David, $5. Another super chat. Did the Titanic have a maintenance team, or was it a regular crew? Did the ship have maintenance teams? As far as I know, it was just part of the crew. You know, they just the engineers and the staff on board were there to make sure that they would troubleshoot the ship, make sure there weren't any problems on board. I don't believe they had a dedicated team just for that. I mean, I'm sure they had people, and I'm sure they had members of the staff that were there for maintenance. But I don't think it was like I believe it was just part of the crew. You know, each crew had their own job. Your job is maintenance. Your job is this. Your job is this. I believe it was like that. As far as I know, they didn't actually have anything more specific, but everybody had their role. I hope I'm making sense. Pin prop, sis, did they ever open a safe on the Titanic? I don't believe so. I don't believe they ever got a safe out. Okay, one more question. One more question. All right, the cutting room floor, $2. This will be the last question of the night. Thank you for the super chat. When will we get the Carpathia video? Love the vids. You know what? I'll try to make the Carpathia video sometime in the next month. How about that? I'll try to add that to the list and push that up to the higher priority standard and get the Carpathia video out as soon as I can. But thank you for the super chat. Oh, wait, I got one more question here. I saw it. I need to... You guys are killing me with the super chats. But okay, I'll answer that too. But I saw another question, Titanic versus the Black Pearl. I don't think either would do anything in that. I don't know if cannonballs could. Well, depends on how the Black Pearl hit the Titan. Titan didn't have weapons, so maybe the Black Pearl could do some damage with those cannonballs. Donald, $5. Thank you so much. Is it true passengers on the Titanic played with snow on the deck from the iceberg? Yes. After the Titanic struck the berg, a few parts of the iceberg actually fell down onto the deck. And it is true that some of the third-class passengers came out and were actually playing soccer with them. And there is even an account that some of the porthole windows on the Titanic starboard side, right along where the iceberg hit, actually broke and ice got into some of the passengers' windows. That happened as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of porthole windows on the Titanic starboard side were damaged from the iceberg as well. But yeah, there were a bunch of souvenir hunters on the deck that night before things got really serious. But I don't really know how you would souvenir hunter that because it's ice, it's going to melt. But still, there was definitely something that was going on. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for watching the live stream tonight. This has been a ton of fun. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all for the comments. Thank you all for the super chats. You guys are awesome as always. This was an incredibly fun live stream. So guys, just thank you all so much for everything tonight. And thank you guys so much for all your support. And I am fairly active on my Discord. So please, if you want to come and hang out, I'm usually on there most evenings. So if you want to come and talk to me on there, it's just hit or miss if you catch me. But join my Discord. It's in my community page. There's an active link in there. You might have to scroll down a little bit, but it is there. And I set it to never expire. So just go into my community page and you'll find a link to the Discord. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for watching. Sunday next week, 7:30, just like always, guys. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you all so much for being here.